Hey, what's up? I'm Nate Chen. If you haven't seen the first installment of How to Get Into Motorsports, go check it out now because I'll refer to it at the end. I'm going to talk about today how you start driving without actually owning your own car. So let's say you've gone to an event and you really like it, you want to get into it, but you're not really sure you want to commit thousands of dollars to buying a car or using a car that you already have to go thrash it out on track. Totally understandable. It's a fairly big commitment, right? I think there are four ways you can actually get some track time experience without owning your own car. So number one, try a simulator. Over the past few years, the technology has really gotten there in terms of being able to replicate what it actually feels like on track. I personally am not the biggest fan of it. I would rather just go out and drive something, even if it's a go-kart. It has helped a lot of people. I know I referred a lot to Owen Gray, my friend who now works at RTR, last video, but it's something that he did as well. So he'd done the simulator, he bought a wheel, and his progression from never having driven on track to where he is now, he's really quickly gained a lot of the beginner stuff, and he's done really well because he has a lot of simulator experience. Number two, go to a go-kart track and do their arrive and drive stuff, but don't do their arrive and drive stuff on just a normal weekend. I mean, yeah, if you've never done that before, definitely take advantage of it. But what I'm talking about is trying one of their leagues. Their leagues are really fun. So you pay like 60 or 65 bucks at United Karting at BWI. And I think they do, the format is one qualifying, one heat race, and then one main race. And or they might even have a practice session before then or as well, or something like that. And why it's so fun and why it's different than a normal arrive and drive day is that people that are wanting to drive hard and compete are showing up to these events. And that means you end up getting really good drivers who have maybe some motorsports experience or have some karting experience at least that will show up and then compete. You have this friendly competition going. Some people take it a little too seriously. I do remember my second race at one of these events. I did really well. I think I won the event, but locals weren't too happy that I did because they had no idea who this random guy, and it was funny. But after that, I actually ended up making a lot of friends from that, and it was a great experience. So yeah, arrive and drive leagues, you pay 60, 65 bucks, you get 3 or 4 races, which is a great deal. And at the end, you might win a small little trophy. I think I have one over here. Oh, that might have actually been from something else, but yeah, I know I have something from one of those. Anyway, you can do them at I think Autobahn has them, which is a national chain at this point. United Karting will have them when they start up in March. Number 3, try a drift school or try a racing school. On the East Coast, we have Chris Knapp at East Coast Drift School and Reese Marin at Evergreen Speedway. Both are great people, friends of mine, and are more than willing to instruct you in rental cars. I think Reese has rental cars. I'm not sure if he does, actually. Chris definitely does at E-Town. So you basically get a one-on-one private session with Chris Knapp as your instructor, or Reese, depending on where you're going. And you get to learn a lot. You get to drive on track. If you don't know how to drive stick, they can teach you that as well. And you don't have to thrash on your own car. You don't pay for tires outside of the cost that's already included in the day. And I think the fuel is also included in the cost of your day. So it's really easy. You don't even have to worry about transporting your car to the track. You literally just show up and drive one of the rental cars. And it's a great way to experience drifting without having your own car, or driving stick if you don't know how to do that. And if you have a lot more money and maybe you don't want to do drifting, you want to just do normal road racing, then you can go to something like the James Bondurant School or some big, there's a bunch of them. And you spend several $1,000s for a weekend to do it. And, it's aimed at a different crowd. To be honest, I don't think that's necessarily worth it, because if you're spending that much, you might as well just buy a $2,000 or $3,000 car. That was how much my first race car cost, right? So do I want to burn money and then never be able to, get anything out of that weekend other than that one weekend? Or would I rather just buy a cheap starter car and then go and rip that endless weekends, or have the ability to rip it endless weekends? So anyway, that's kind of where my head is on that. And on the fourth way of getting into a car, so going back to helping people before you ask for anything, when I was like 15 and 16, I had been around long enough in the video stuff that people were handing their keys over to me because they knew I was like super excited. I really wanted to do this. And I got to drive some awesome cars. I got to drive a Toyota Corolla, like an A86 from Clayton Ashby, and that actually made it onto Speed Hunters. And I, did the skid pad and got my first experience like getting a car sideways, which was really cool. I got to drive some other people's cars. I remember Vin Nguyen, he let me drive his white BMW E36 M3. And then the holy grail was when Kylie Mackey gave me the keys to his R32 1JZ Skyline, which that particular car is still my favorite of all time and my dream car. So I got to drive a right-hand drive car around the skid pad and got to drift. I think I might even have the footage somewhere. Those opportunities came all because I was contributing to the community before I was asking anything of it, right? And if there was anything I can impress upon anybody that's watching is that goes a long way, right? Because you get opportunities to drive cars that you otherwise wouldn't have had if you were just trying to go straight into driving. And if you can go straight into driving, obviously that's your own thing. But again, I'm trying to help people that maybe they don't have the means to go straight into driving. Maybe they're too young or whatever. Because that's what I was. That was the situation that I was in all those years ago.